I despised reading growing up. 10-year-old Erin would rather have all of her teeth pulled than read a book without pictures. So while all of my friends were reading these, I read this. That being said, I haven't read like any of those book series, but 3 of my closest friends absolutely adore the Percy Jackson series, and they have convinced me to read all of it. So this will be a spoiler-free reading vlog of the entire Percy Jackson series. I've read the first 10 chapters of The Lightning Thief, and I am liking it so far. I like the amount of action that has already happened. There's not a huge amount of world building, which I love, because I'm just like, oh yeah, like just get in the story. I feel like sometimes the beginning of like fantasy series can be like really boring, but the beginning of this has been like very entertaining. Percy has made me laugh in this. He is so funny, and I love that for him, because he's like calling people smelly and stuff. Calling people smelly is genuinely so funny to me. So I have seen like the Percy Jackson movie, which is there. I'm familiar enough with the first 150 pages of this story. And so like I'm excited to get like further into the book and the series when I don't know what's gonna happen. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going and I'll check back in at some point or another. I don't know.
We're falling sideways up in the air as we walk each other home.
I finished and I'm tired, so like I'll talk about it in the morning. Let's talk about the book. I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna give it 4 stars. I have to say, the middle school arguments, jokes, name calling is top tier comedy. Like, is there anything better? I think it is so funny. I love the dynamic between like Annabeth and Percy when they are fighting. It brings me so much joy. I'm like, ah, this is so funny. This is so great. I was gonna say kiss already, but they're 12. That's kind of weird. Yeah, no, never mind. Take that back. Ew. Reading from the perspective of a 12-year-old boy was funnier than I thought it would be. Someone will say something and then in his head he has this amazing comeback, but he like doesn't say it out loud, but he's thinking it, and they made me audibly laugh. I love how fast-paced this is and how there's never a time where you're just like bored when reading it. I also want to be a half-blood, but no, my parents decided they were gonna be mortal. They weren't gonna be a god or a goddess, which is so fake. Boo. If you want to like comment Erin's parents are so fake, like I'm not gonna stop you. Just kidding, guys. Love you. Wouldn't trade you for the world. There is a prophecy in this book, and you know, I hate to flex, but I solved it right away. Right when they said it, I was like, oh, I bet this is gonna happen. And what do you know? Last chapter comes around, and that's exactly what happens. Big brain. Big brain. Now, this is written for like 10-year-olds. I liked how I could read it in a day, and I very much appreciate Summer Break for giving me this opportunity, because if I was reading this during the school year, probably wouldn't be able to read it in a day. So I'm going to get started reading. I'll let you know how I feel about book 2. I'll let you know if it is just as good or better than book 1. But I feel like book 1's pretty iconic, you know? Live, Laugh, Love, book 1. Loved it. So let's see if book 2 is just as good or better. I'm halfway through book 2, The Sea of Monsters. I'm enjoying it very much. With the first book, The Lightning Thief, I was familiar with like the first half of the plot because I remember bits and pieces from the Percy Jackson movie. I really do just love how Rick Riordan puts like so much in the book in the beginning, so you don't have to have that slow start. Like I really appreciate that. Now I want to talk about some of the characters in here. I'm a big fan of Tyson. Like I think he is just so adorable, but at the same time, like I get where some of the characters are coming from. I'm not going to go too much into that, you know, in case you haven't read them. And then also one of the villains in this book Also, I think they mentioned at one point George Washington was a half-blood or something. That is so silly. Anyway, gonna continue to read this book and hopefully finish it tonight. That would be so slay if it's just like, you know, me getting through my TBR. Woo woo.
When it happens, we'll be dancing on the lawn. When it happens, when it happens, we'll be dancing on the lawn. When it happens.
Oh, just finished The Sea of Monsters. Throwing the book was a little dramatic, and unnecessary. I didn't like this one as much as the first book. I think I prefer the first book more, but I don't know if that's just because of like it felt nostalgic. Not very many thoughts are going on right now. I'll be honest, not very much is going on up here. I definitely prefer the first one, but I still like this, and I mean, I'm glad that I just have the third one on me so I can get started on it right away. Alright, I'm gonna start reading this tonight. It's only around like 7:30, so hopefully I can get through a good amount. I really want to finish these next 3 books quickly, even though I have like plans. I'm like, plans can wait, right? Reading over plans. No, I actually can't do that because my plans are my job. And I want to be a responsible employee. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna read. I'm halfway through the 3rd book, so halfway through the series. And there were a lot of new characters introduced in this book, and I don't like them. Hopefully they'll be the sort of character that sort of grows on you, because I don't like them now, you know? Or maybe they'll just end up being like mauled by a monster or something. That's not nice. That is not nice. You know what? I don't care. I'm not gonna be nice. I don't like them. Why are they here? Go away. I'm going to go finish this book, so then I can tell you the rest of my thoughts. Ignore everything I said earlier about this book. I wasn't vibing with the first half of the book, but the second half of the book is absolutely incredible, and I love all the characters. It gave off like that 5-star feeling, but I'm not going to give it 5 stars, and I will tell you why. I didn't love the first half, and I feel like it would be wrong for me to give it 5 stars just because I like the ending. And usually what happens is I finish a book and I want to rate it really high, and then I think about it for a day and I'm like, oh, it did not, no. So I think I'm going to give it 4.5 for now. But it's very likely I'm going to change my mind. Alright, now it's time to start the 4th book, The Battle of the Labyrinth. This cover is my favorite cover out of all of them. This guy looks scary and fun. So I haven't had very much time to read today because I had to work for a couple of hours, and then I got food with my mom, and then she took me to the bookstore, and I got some new books, which you will see in videos coming up very, very soon, and I'm very excited to read. Anyway, let's talk about the book. Since I haven't been able to read very much today, I'm only on chapter 6, but I do have to say, this might be my favorite. I don't know if you can actually trust the thing I'm saying right now because I've only read 5 chapters of this, but I'm like loving this book. This book is so good. I like the whole idea of a labyrinth, and every time I think of Labyrinth, I think of this. Oh, also today has been such a good day. This morning, we reached 500 subscribers, and I just want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you. You guys have been so nice to me, and just thank you so much. Thank you. Anyway, back to the Labyrinth. I don't know, I'm just really liking the story of this one. They're like 14, like almost 15, I think, in this book. I like how they're growing up and how they're interacting with each other. Just something, like it's starting to hit different, because I know like the first couple of books, they're just like very innocent with each other, and it's like nice to like read from like that middle school perspective, but now they're like entering high school, and I really like how they interact with each other. I'm just like, yeah. Like, I like this whole them in their like teenage years. I think it's very interesting how you kind of get to see the characters like grow up and like they're starting to like mature a little bit and like act a little different around each other, and I'm like really enjoying that part. Also, I just seriously just love the idea of a labyrinth. Like, I can't get that out of my head. I really like it, and I like the monsters in this book. Like, I like the villains in this book a lot. I'll keep reading this and tell you my thoughts on it at the end. Battle of the Labyrinth, 4 stars. I was just a big fan of the whole labyrinth like setting, and then like all the different places that they visit and all the characters that you meet. Like, I really liked this one, and I also really like the emotional journey it sort of puts you on. But now, like, my memory of the 3rd book, The Titan's Curse, it's kind of like fading in with the other books, and it doesn't necessarily stick out anymore. So I think as of now, my ratings for the books would be The Lightning Thief, 4 stars, The Sea of Monsters, 3 stars, The Titan's Curse, 4 stars, and The Battle of the Labyrinth, 4 stars. I'm like very excited to read this book, get it over with, and then be able to say I read the Percy Jackson series. I will get reading. I'm halfway through the last book, The Last Olympian, and it is definitely the most high stakes. It's intense. Like, this one like keeps you on your toes the whole time. Like, I feel like all the books do a good job at always having something going on, but this one, it's just like so much more intense. It's the next day, and I just finished it. I think this is yet another 4 stars. Like, I feel like this is somewhere in the range between 4 and 5 stars, but it doesn't quite make the cut of those 5-star reads. I don't know, I feel like accomplished that I read all of these, but like, now what? I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to be thinking about this all the time. Like, I feel like there's some books where like, it could be weeks later and I'm still thinking about it, and I don't really think that's the case, but at the same time, I think I learned a lot about Greek mythology and like Greek gods and stuff, and I feel like if someone ever mentions like a name of a Greek god or just like anything, I'll be able to be like, oh yeah, I know what this means because I read Percy Jackson. Just like when Chiron is introduced and they talk about Achilles and stuff, like, I've read the Song of Achilles, I know that story. I don't really have like a favorite book in the series, but I think The Sea of Monsters is my least favorite. I think the first book is kind of nostalgic because I remember bits and pieces from the movie. The second book is my least favorite, and the 3rd, 4th, and 5th were all good. I really like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and they're the closest ones to 5 stars. I hope you like this video. If you would be like so kind and like maybe like it or comment or like subscribe, I don't know. That would be very nice. Yeah, I will see you very soon.